Journey of this road, it's very long. There will be a few stops and bumps, but this will not stop us from getting to our final destination. The beginning of my journey started when my parents immigrated to Thailand from Myanmar to escape war. From Thailand, we then immigrated to America and arrived in 2002 when I was only 8 months old. We moved around to different states till we settled in North Carolina, where I was raised. Growing up in America as an immigrant, I faced many challenges. When I first attended kindergarten, I did not know any English because my parents only spoke Burmese to me, and eventually that is where I started to learn English. Um, I had to learn how to speak English, and I struggled learning at first. I was in ESL till the end of elementary school. The language barrier was very difficult, and I tried my best to learn English. When I was in elementary and middle school, I also struggled academically because I did not have any help from my family because they did not finish school and they barely spoke English. The only people I had were the teachers, but I was very shy, so it was very hard to ask for help. Um, Eventually, through elementary school, I was bullied by Asians for not being Asian enough, and I didn't really fit in with the American kids, which made me have identity issues, and um, I had trouble making friends at first. There is also a lot of pressure on me growing up as a first generation immigrant, like doing well in school and helping out my parents. Um, I felt the pressure to get good grades because I wanted to end up in a good college to make my parents proud. Um, I tried my best to maintain good grades and all. Um, and my parents had always told me that they came to America so that I could have a better education and future. So that put even more pressure on me. My parents also relied on me to translate for them in English. And of course, I tried my best, but some of these documents are very hard for a 9-year-old to translate with the amount of vocabulary I had known back then. Um, as my journey continues, I had to continue to face even more obstacles and eventually overcome them. It was hard to keep in touch with my roots, and it's also hard to connect with American culture. The older I get, the more English I learned and the less Burmese I was able to speak. It became really hard to communicate with those back in Burma, like my family and those in the Burmese community, and it's even sometimes hard to communicate with my parents. I have trouble translating from Burmese to English or English to Burmese sometimes. And sometimes I feel out of place with my own Burmese community because I feel like I don't fit in, and it's hard when you don't really speak the language. But I continue to speak more Burmese at home and English outside of home. I knew I wanted to keep in touch with my Burmese culture, so I would participate in traditional dances and go to the temple. I also have trouble connecting with the American culture and growing up especially, and I thought I had to act a certain way to fit in with my American friends. I growing up actually felt embarrassed to be an immigrant, and I felt like I had to act a certain way, like more American, and I tried to have more of an American accent, and I felt like if I had an Asian accent, like people would make fun of me. Um, and but eventually I overcame that, and I think it's better to just be yourself. And yeah, and the challenges even get more difficult when high school and college approach, having to face more mental health problems. I felt even more pressure in high school because I knew if I did well in high school, I would eventually get to a good college. I cared so much about my grades, and I knew there was more to high school than just grades, but all I cared about were grades. There was so much pressure that I just started to struggle with my mental health. I kept doubting myself, and I was like, I always thought that I wouldn't succeed in college, and I kept having thoughts that I couldn't do it and I'm going to be a failure. After high school, I was very lost because I didn't know what my plan was. I knew I wanted to go to college, but I did not know what to do from there. I felt extreme sadness and anxiety because of the life choices I was making, and I felt really lost. Eventually, I overcame that and chose community college to figure out what I want to do as my future path. I have accepted the bumps in the roads, which are very challenging, but I know at the end of the day, I will get to my final destination. These challenges on this journey will continue, um, but these experiences is what makes me continue to grow as a person. My life has been a journey on the road. I had to face a few bumps to get to where I am. I wouldn't have gotten to where I am if it weren't for my experiences of facing life as a first-generation immigrant, connecting with my both cultures, and eventually working on my mental health. There are different journeys that we will all face, and I hope that my story shows that although challenges can be hard, it is a part of life, and we learn from experiences to grow as a person. It is only right to continue on your journey. Then the road will lead to you where you want to go. Thank you.